G'day folks, welcome to Kamfari country. Bullet here, we're up in Darwin. We've done a few days bike prep and just got our Outlanders ready to race. I'll just take you through mine and perhaps talk about what you might do to a four-wheel drive machine to enter an event like this. This year I'm on the Outlander 800X XC. XC roughly cross country. Of course BRP make a mud racer too, the Outlander 800X MR. Which is very much suited to the extreme mud racing pit style events that they have in America. Kamfari is a different race to that. It's a bit more of a muddy enduro, so there's a lot of swamp racing in it, there's a lot of water in it, but you're crossing logs, a lot of dodging and weaving through trees. So the shorter wheelbase of the XC might be a good pick over the longer wheelbase of the XMR. This model Outlander is basically a lot of Renegade running gear in it. The chassis, suspension, all the good gear underneath is the high performance Renegade X model specification. Really just a Renegade with Outlander plastics and Outlander racks, so a good versatile farm type all-round machinery with that performance stuff. I've taken the racks off, of course, don't need them for racing. Taken the headlights out, a little bit of gear like that. Which you'd do for any racing, but let's take a look at what you do specifically for mud racing now. On probably any of the range, even a standard Outlander could do with these mods and come straight up and do Kamfari. We're going to be out in the swamp for 4 hours, so like any endurance event, rider comfort and fatigue is very important. Basically you want to keep your bike nice and soft and plush. We're not doing any huge jumps out there, it's not motocross. And in fact in the swamp your bike's floating half the time too. So we've got those big wheels to chew through to the mud down the bottom. We also want to keep the wheels pushed down there, so we want our suspension quite high, but we've got high speed sections as well. So it's really hard to tune for Kamfari. Somewhere in the middle of your ride heights towards the top to keep your wheels pushed down into the mud, probably do the trick the best. Obviously width is a bit of an issue as well. Kamfari is just lined with trees that you literally take the bark off both trees on the way through. Tyre pressures come into it a little bit. You want to glance off things and there will be a few stumps and rocks out there that you need to go over, and the tyre should deflect over those as well. So a lot of personal settings come into that as to what sort of feel you want. For me, I've got my bars mounted a bit further forward, get my weight further forward, try and keep the front end up as I'm going through the water. I run the suspension probably closer to the mid-level. I haven't got it pushed right down, I've still got a bit of droop travel. Tyre pressures, about the 6 pound in the front, about 5 pound in the rear. There's a lot more tyre there, a lot more volume, so you're getting a lot of support from that. You don't need to go real high on the tyre pressures. Out in the swamps there's plenty of oxygen-starved dead trees standing straight up like goalposts. If they're a darker colour they're usually pretty dead and rotten, so without raising your eyes to the top you can focus on the gaps between the trees. These things are going to hopefully help us get through. Basically an extension to the standard bumper bar, a little idea we come up with just while we're preparing the bikes. Colin Lawson's also adopted the same thing, and just basically helps guide the tree past the tyre so you can get through. I've also got the hand guards up there as well, just to protect my knuckles. But that little tip is if you do come up to a tree under 4 or 5 inches round, if you hit it at slow speeds you can basically push it over and keep riding forward right over it. If you hit it above 10 kilometres an hour you might knock the base out and it falls back on top of you. So I learnt that one the hard way. A well-prepared Kamfari quad will be a four-wheel drive. It may or may not include a winch. If you do have a winch up the front, you've got a lot of weight, you're trying to hover that front end around in the swamp, so there's some little handling disadvantages there with a heavy winch. I'm not running a winch, but I have got this tow rope set up on the front here. Basically you need something quick access to with mud on the hands with gloves on, so I've got a D-shackle there so I can universally attach to anyone else's quad out there in the swamp. Quickly unravel the rope to whatever length's required and go and hook that on the back of anyone in front of me and hopefully get a tow out. Okay, when most people think mud racing or river crossings, that sort of thing, they think about snorkels and all sorts of monstrosities and modifications, holes drilled in the machine, try to get the breathing up high. A lot easier with the BRP product. They actually do an accessory kit which consists of most of the gear off their mud racer. So it's all standard material, you don't have to go hacking holes in your bike. Bolt-on replacement parts, complete new air box with different outlets and positioning, and even this speedo head up here is different, and these covers over here basically stop the water from getting into the new inlets which are mounted much higher. We've got a CVT air outlet on this side, so we've got hot air coming out this way, and we've got cool air coming in under this side too. Nice and shrouded for really deep water. Could probably run around the top of my number there and just keep pushing into that water all day with this kit. I'm always running my machines in their standard trim, so we've still got the standard exhaust back here, the standard muffler on the machine, 71 horsepower of 800cc grunt. That's what I'm going to be using around the place. Same as I did last week at Thumb Pump, so this bike's essentially, other than the mods we've talked about there, changing the tyres is the obvious one. It's the same bike I ran in a different enduro race down in South Australia just last weekend. So that's pretty much my bike done. Feel pretty equipped. I've got my power steering and the big mud tyres. That's about all you really need to get out there. Bit of breathing gear, keep the breathing up high. Have a play in the swamp. So I'll be out there tomorrow having a play with the rest of them. See how we go. Wish me luck.